All right, we are back here on the Just and the Suffering podcast. Yankees getting ready for the playoffs. Joining me today, a big content creator. You've seen a lot of him on Twitter. He covers the Yankees, some of their minor league affiliates. Julian Guilarte is here. Julian, how are you?
Good. I'm actually coming back from Somerset yesterday. They made it to the championship now. So the minors is even bigger than my major league coverage this year, honestly. But that's going to start shifting soon as the minors season's coming to an end. And the Yankees have a huge stretch run ahead of them. But it's been busy with both of them. So I'm doing good. Just a lot of work.
Yeah, I've seen you on Twitter. You've been down there a lot. You're doing some interviews down there, covering some of these players here. What's your experience been like covering Somerset this year?
It's been great, man. Probably one of the best minor league seasons in the whole league, honestly. Any level I'm talking about. Like, they're 30 games over 500. They're 2 wins from a championship. You've seen Anthony Volpe, who won Player of the Year. They have Jason Dominguez up there now, and they've had like six top 10 prospects at one point, even though Everson Pereira was injured. So I've been spoiled down there. I've gotten the best of everyone, basically.
Yeah, you've gotten a lot of talent down there. There's a lot of talent on the Yankee big league roster as well here, including one Aaron Judge, who we're recording right now. He's still trying to break the record for American League home runs that Roger Maris set in 61 here. And it's funny to go back to the beginning of the season when you said, oh, okay, like he's turning down his contract, 8 years, 230, his injury history, I don't know, but he does it might be a triple crown season here. I feel like this got to be the greatest walk year of all time.
Oh yeah, 100%. I mean, I can't even think of one that really compares. I mean, Mookie Betts is a little bit different because they ended up trading him when he didn't have to trade him technically. I know people actually talk about when Barry Bonds was a free agent with the Pirates. That's what I've heard a comparison to, that he had a big walk here, but obviously the power numbers are nowhere near the same. And that's before Barry went crazy with the steroids and all that. So he was still a good Pirate, though. Don't get me wrong, but I think, yeah, it's the best walk here ever. I mean, he's gonna break some records here. He might win a triple crown. I mean, that's never happened before in a free agent year.
Oh, certainly not here. Another thing I also feel you gotta look at here, a thing that sort of bothers me is like this whole debate going on right now. Oh, like should Judge be the MVP or should Ohtani be the MVP because he pitches? And to me, the thing about
So
it is
dumb.
it's really dumb because A, Ohtani won it
So
last
dumb.
year, and B, like you take Ohtani off the Angels, like they're still in fourth place. Take Judge off this Yankee team, they might not make the playoffs. It's like how bad the opposite bad points this year. So I mean, if you
Yeah.
include the word valuable in the MVP award, I feel like you gotta give it to Judge.
Well, I mean, his WAR is close to 11 now. So if you go just based off that, it's 11 wins right there. And that's not perfect by any means, but it is the best measurement we have to measure how valuable a player is in a lot of regards. But honestly, that seems low almost every amount of games he's actually won for them, because it seems like he's won almost every game for them. But his defense, you see it yesterday. Like, how do you quantify the throw at second base yesterday? Even though he walked like 3 times, he almost hit a homer. Like, didn't even pitch to him, and he still put his print on the game. And no matter what, he always does that. He's the MVP. I mean, Otani's great, and the Angels stink. I mean, I know that whole argument's tiresome, but like he's a generational player. You're not going to really see what he does again, but he's not the MVP this year. Like you said, he won it last year. His hitting was a lot better last year. It's actually funny because now his pitching's a lot better this year. So like honestly, you can make a case for Otani any year.
Yeah, that's for sure. And you made a good point about Judge's defense, too, because you think about it here. If he spent a lot of this year playing in center field because he simply didn't have a better option there because Aaron Hicks was struggling and
Yeah.
guys are hurt. I mean, like,
That hurt his numbers, by the way. Like the
yeah,
defensive numbers would have been way better if he was playing right the whole year.
it's just the fact he was so valuable, able to do it, though, and help that team, especially as a big guy
Yeah.
at 6'7", playing that position that's very physically demanding.
You don't see that. I think he's probably the biggest center fielder ever, I would assume, to actually do that. But it's that is valuable in itself, even though the numbers didn't show it. He has him as a great center field defender, but just what he was able to do to have them sit down Hicks, because Hicks was unplayable for so long and still is, honestly. That's why Bader's over here now, and that's been a great pickup as well. But yeah, Judge is the MVP. He has a good shot at the Triple Crown. I kind of want to check the batting average race right now. That's what I was about to do. Because I know it's actually interesting because Xander Bogaerts is the runner-up, and now we're playing the Red Sox. So if they could get him, if they can keep him in check, that'll help Judge even more.
Yeah, for sure here. And it's also funny, you mentioned Somerset, too. I feel like you've seen a lot of players pretty through on rehab assignment lately down there because there's so many injured guys over the second half, whether it's Rizzo just came back, LeMahieu is still hurt. You got Roldis Chapman, Zach Britton, Scott F. Frost, like a lot of the bullpen rotations all missed time. All the guys who are on their way back, if you think about the biggest impact when they contribute to the postseason roster.
Such a tough question. There's so many guys. Like, where do I begin with this one? I mean, I could give you a long-winded answer. I could give you a brief to the point answer, but I'll say something quick about the rehab assignments. I got to see 4 players in one day when I went up to Connecticut. I saw Castro, Chapman, Brain, and Harrison Bader all together. Yeah. There was no Rizzo down there or Mayhew. I did get to see Marinaccio. I got to see Steven Riding. So I've seen a bunch of guys down there this year. It's been fun. But who do I think makes the biggest impact? Zach Britton could be potentially, because if he can be what he used to be just a little bit, the bullpen's really been struggling right now. So I could say Zach Britton's a dark horse answer for me. If you want me to go towards the offense, if they could somehow get Matt Carpenter back, that's the easy answer. But I don't know if he's going to make it back. And then Benintendi, he's going to be big too.
Yeah,
DJ, I'm worried about because he's been banged up all year, and he's not going to be 100% when he returns.
Yeah, that's a great point on Carpenter and Bennington. Both were big cause in the offense. Obviously, if those guys, it feels like they're still a ways off. I mean, we heard recently that Bennington might come back in the playoffs and might not be to like the ALCS, if that. And Carpenter with the broken foot. I mean, when he got down, was really when the Yankees went that big slump offensively, because he was sort of the big key behind Judge in that lineup.
Yeah, they started sliding a little bit before he went down, but then him going down kind of just pushed him over the edge of going the wrong way, because he played in that St. Louis series. They got swept. He almost had a few homers that series, but they stay in the yard. Then he gets hit against Seattle the next day, and then you see a tailspin. And yeah, Carpenter's numbers, I think the OPS and slugging is actually higher than Aaron Judge somehow, which is crazy and shows how good Carpenter was in the limited sample size. But he was huge because he was hitting from the left side of the plate. He was giving them power and balance. He was hitting for good contact too. He was just a story, and he was a bonus because no one expected it.
Yeah, that's for sure here. Let's talk about some of the playoff scenarios here, because obviously, like, by the time this comes out here, we're recording on Friday the 23rd, like, Yankees should have to get at least wrapped up by that point, because...
Right, we're at 6 now, yeah.
And they're going to Toronto this week, so they figure the job will get done by the time this ends up coming out here. So, and they're not catching Houston based on where they are on the standings.
Yeah, that's done, yeah.
Yeah, so now that get ready for the ALDS here. Let's take a look here at what the rotation looks at the playoffs. Obviously here, you got Garrett Cole, Nestor Cortez, they'll be both in there. Like, how did they fill out the first-round rotation?
This is going to be a tough question, actually. You have a lot of candidates here because Frankie Montas is a wild card now with his shoulder issue. I think he's slated to come back. They said retroactive to the 17th, so that would make him eligible for the 2nd, I think, or the 1st, if he's good to go. But that's a big question mark because that shoulder's been bugging him all year, and he's been a disappointment. And I think the shoulder could play a part. So you're looking at Severino, obviously. He's going to slide in there now that he's back. He looked good the other night. I think he'll be close to that 100 pitch count by the time October rolls around. And then I think it could be Jameson Tyone. You saw he did yesterday. He's making his case to get in that playoff rotation. Domingo Germán hasn't been a bad option either. So even without Montas, you have a fight. I think it's a fight between Tyone and Germán for the 4th spot. If Montas returns, I think Tyone and Germán get pushed to the bullpen.
Yeah, I mean, that's a very important situation because in the past, I've seen some recent series where the Yankees, sort of don't have the depth rotation behind Cole where they say, okay, we'll do a bullpen day basically from all these games. But the bullpen hasn't been great of late. So that's like, you really need somebody in that back end of the group to step up here and give some innings.
I also think that you could see a situation that this can benefit the Yankees here. Let's say Montas has a low pitch count or something. You could piggyback him with Tyone or Germán maybe, or even if Severino has to go early, you could do the same thing. So they can have like a few starters in the hole to be ready in case another guy doesn't have it. So I think that's going to be big.
Yeah, I'm just trying to look up the ALDS schedule right now because I remember there's a couple of off days in there as well. So like that might also help the Yankees as well.
Yeah, I think what happens is it's actually kind of weird. Like, and the ALCS schedule sucks. Like they play 3 through 7 without off days, I think, which is terrible. But like, it's because they had the lockout and they did the they changed it, unfortunately. So here's my understanding of the schedule. I think what happens is the Yankees get game 1 October 11th if they win the division, which we know they should. You get an off day on the 12th. Then you play the 13th. Then I want to say it's off day, play, off day, play if necessary. I'll double check.
I do have that up right now for you. So is game 1's on the 11th. You were correct on that. Game 2 is the 13th. It's a day off between. It's another day off, and then they play Saturday, Sunday, Monday. So theoretically, they can only need 3 starters.
Oh, so do they have an off day after Sunday, or is it 3 straight after that?
It's Saturday, Sunday, Monday.
That doesn't make any sense. I would want the off day when Like, I hate that so much. Like, I would want the off day for the travel day for game 5. I don't want it in between game 1 and game 2. Like, what the hell do we need that for? Like, it's going to be in the same stadium. Like, God. Well, hopefully we don't have to worry about the 3 straight because I don't want to have to burn 3 straight bullets going into the ALCS.
Yeah, well, I mean, right. The one bit for them is considering their rotation's been in flux. They could theoretically ride on just 3 stars. They have to get through game 5 because your 1 and 2 guys could come back on normal rest.
Right. That is the one thing about that because if you have an off day, I think that kind of works out. Because wait, let me try to do this quickly. So you have the day in between. You have game 2, 3. You have game 2, so that's like 3 days. Yeah, you could bring the first guy back on 5, so it might be 4 still. Depends, unless you want to do 3 for someone.
Yeah, I think depends how they're healthy, especially if the Montas situation doesn't play out here. But I think the bigger thing for them to worry about the first round is to be their bullpen, because especially the closer. I know Aaron Boone said yesterday that you're not going to close by committee, which does not sound great. You're heading into the playoffs here, so like, is there a guy back there you actually trust the most in terms of like who's going to get the biggest outs in that bullpen?
I don't know. That's the biggest question mark, I think, more than anything, honestly. More in the rotation, more in the lineup. That bullpen's been erratic. I mean, Clark Schmidt's been pretty good, but yesterday was not good. The people were saying him. An outside the box option that I wouldn't do, but I've heard this was suggested. Domingo Germán, I've heard people say he could try him in that role, but I want him to pitch more innings. I wouldn't want to just use him for 1. I mean, I would say maybe Loizaga I would give it to. Efros, if he shows he can pitch healthily. I think he has some good closer components. Chapman scares me in October, and you know how his walks can get. Clay Holmes, it should be, but he's not been the same since he got injured and then he fell off in the first half. Seems like he got figured out or he's thrown too many innings or something. Although last night he looked good, so I don't even have a straight answer, honestly. I don't know.
Yeah, it's a very fascinating question. It's something you would hope in maybe the next week to 10 days, somebody establishes themselves like, oh, we're hot, therefore I'm going to be the guy in the 9th inning.
I don't know if I would still trust it, though, because could the person stay hot long enough without having a blow-up? Like, I don't know. I mean, I think it is going to be mixing and matching. Like, Wandy Peralta just went down. He's done it a little bit. Like, if you have some tough lefties, could it be Zach Britton again? He hasn't pitched in over a year in the major leagues, so I don't know. It's going to be interesting. You're going to be holding your breath for those last 3 outs in October. It seems like whoever is getting the ball. So let's just hope that they figure it out somehow. Because I will say that a lot of teams don't use a conventional closer anymore. So you can do this, but it's not like your traditional style.
Yeah, it's a very unusual problem the Yankees have because usually they have the dominant bullpen that's going to help them out in October here. And like you don't even wonder if they have enough stars to sort of do the national off years ago where you have me like Garrett Cole throwing bullpen innings on his throw days.
Yeah, it's going to be something.
Yeah, absolutely. Here, let's talk a little bit about the potential playoff teams right now because right now it's going to be locked in the 2 seed. The Guardians should be the 3 seed. They're probably the 6 right now, which classically be any of those 3 teams, depending on how it plays out here. In terms of the matchups here, like who do you think would be the toughest draw for the Yankees if they had to face them in round 1?
All right, let me check these wild cards in the Guardians and see what I feel about this. I mean, I have a couple interesting answers here. I think that the Guardians kind of seem like a team that's flying under the radar. I wouldn't really like to play them too much right now. Their pitching's pretty good, but if I was going to go past them, it's the Toronto Blue Jays because Alex Manoah is still a beast and he gives the Yankees fits. I think their lineup's probably the best still. The Seattle Mariners kind of scare me a little bit too. The Yankees had trouble with them this year. And Luis Castillo's been good against the Yankees. Of course, they wanted us to get him and all that, but I think Tampa Bay I'm not too worried about, honestly. I think the Yankees kind of showed they can take care of them this year. So that's how I view it. I would say Toronto, actually. I still feel a little bit worried about them.
Yeah, I think they all have their own different sets of problems. Toronto has the big lineup that can kill you. They have some top line pitching. Seattle has the great pitching that can beat you, but they and Cleveland don't really have the play experience. For me, I would personally say Tampa just because, again, I think like the mental edge they have in terms of October. They've done it before, and it feels like whenever they play the Yankees, they're not afraid of them, as opposed to the other 3 teams might have that little bit of a fear of the October mystique of going to the Bronx.
That's very fair. I'll give you that. But here's the 2 things I'll say about that. The first thing is that Tampa Bay beat the Yankees when there's no fans and they didn't have to go through the actual Bronx gauntlet. We've never seen them go through there in October. So that's going to be a lot different. And the second thing is that if there's a team that's more injured than the Yankees, it's Tampa Bay. That team's been banged up all year. And I think it's really taken a toll on them because they don't have the depth due to the lack of funds. So they can't fill in these holes that well once they start getting injured. Like when their top talent goes down, it's tough for them to replace it.
Absolutely. Last question here is obviously we're gonna like we'll play the highlight. Okay, see, let's say get through the ALDS, they have to deal with the Astros, the ALCS. It's not gonna have home field. It's gonna be in Houston again. Like, how do you feel like they match?
Yeah.
How do you feel like they match up right now with Houston? Because Houston obviously has been the team's giving them fits the last like 5-6 years.
Yeah, that's the one we got to get over still. And since 2017. But here's what we always know. I mean, when the Yankees are going to go to the World Series, it's always going to go through Houston. So they got to man up. They got to do it. I mean, how do I think they match up personally? I kind of want to check out the Astros rotation really quick. Let me see what that's looking like, and then I'll give you a better answer on that. But I think it's going to be tough, especially going on the road. But if Yankees lineup, if everyone's healthy, big if, obviously, I think they could be fine. I think they would need one of Carpenter and Bennington back at least. I think for the Astros, they would probably pitch Verlander, McCullers, Valdez, and then I would guess Christian Javier would probably get that 4th start potentially. And then they would have Luis Garcia and Jose Urquidy ready to go out of the bullpen quickly because Valdez has been low-key one of the best pitchers in baseball this year. Had like 24 to 25 straight quality starts. I don't know if that streak is still going on, but he's been a nightmare this year for opposing hitters. And then Javier had the combined no-hitter against the Yankees. That guy owns the Yankees, so they're going to definitely want to pitch him against us. And then Verlander and McCullers are a guarantee. So that's what I think they would end up doing probably.
Yeah, I think the one thing that's also people have not really put together yet, it goes back to the playoff schedule here, is that like due to the compression from the lockout and then the extra round, there's only one off day in the entire ALCS.
Oh, you might need a fifth, actually. You're right. You might need a fifth starter, unfortunately.
Yeah, because
I'm trying to think. There's only one off day. So you go 1, 2.
There's an off day.
You would have to short someone probably. Yeah, and pitch 5 starters maybe. That'd be interesting.
Yeah, because it's sort of interesting because like the Yankees have that problem right now where they're not sure of who their 4th is. They might have to figure out, do we go 5 or bring people back on short rest the rest of the way, as opposed to like I know the NL side, like a lot of those teams have like 5 quality starters. They could do it in theory.
Yeah, so I'm thinking like if the Yankees want, they'd have to go 4, and then like I think it would be normal rest if you do 4 potentially. I kind of just did the math quickly because Garrett Cole could go game 1 and he could pitch game 5, and then they'll have the off day.
There is no off day between 5 and 7, 6 and 5.
Yeah, I know. They'll have one between 2 and 3, so that gives him an extra one. So he gets 2 off 3, 3, 4, and then they could pitch in 5 maybe. But then if you do it 2, then it becomes interesting. But we'll see what they want to do. If they do 5, I mean, the Yankees could do 5. Like they could just do the 5 we mentioned before. So it's going to be interesting. I know the World Series is back to normal, I think.
Yep,
I think at least they have that normal. But I hate the ALCS thing and like not and the game 1 and game 2 gap, and then no game off days. Yeah, it's
a little weird. The NL's the same way. It's the same 1, 2, and then they have the off day. Then 3 to 7 are played straight.
I just can't wait till next year till everything's finally normal for the first time since like 2019. Like there's going to be a normal season. Like everything's going to go as it should finally. No more COVID issues, although the COVID's still a thing. But for the MLB schedule's sake,
no lockouts.
No lockouts and like no condensed scheduling. Like I'm just over all that.
Yeah, we'll see that. We'll see what happens here. See how the Yankees end this year, Julian. Thanks for all the time. Really appreciate it. Before I want to let you go, people follow social media, keep up with some of your Yankee coverage.
Okay, so Julian Guilarte 1 on Twitter, so you can get me. Instagram's Julian Guilarte 11. Check out Out in the Field 1 on all platforms, and then check out Grunt Baseball as well. YouTube channels, and that's what I would say. Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and then we even have a Twitch for Out in the Field, but I haven't used it that much, and TikTok.
All right, so check all that stuff out, Julie. Thanks for all the time. Really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me, and